First of all, I want to thank every student that voted in this year's election. Whether you voted for me or you wrote someone else in, I thank you for taking advantage of the democratic process. Voting is important, and I'm really glad that you did it. Next, I want to thank Dave Shapiro for being an exceptional campaign manager. I want to thank Alwyn Lowe for taking terrific photos, as only Alwyn can, and I thank Dion Drew for advising me throughout the campaign process. Next, I want to thank Colin Towery and the Election Commission, as well as Woo TV and Student Life for making every effort to cover this campaign and trying to make the election relevant to students, even though most of us ran unopposed. I'll also thank Reva Clemens. Reva, you are a very good friend of mine, and I thank you so much for entering the race and sparking a necessary debate about campus programming. Next year, we are committed to working with you to make sure that the programming that does happen on campus is collaborative and strategic, just like we want it to be. Last, but certainly not least, I thank every member of the Montana Slate for taking this journey with me. Trevor, David, Nate, and Courtney. There's so much I can say about you guys, but I think one word that sums it up is that you guys are awesome. You guys were hard workers this year, and you're going to be so instrumental next year in making the changes that we want to see happen and making it the success that we dream it to be. But now, to many other students, the election of the Montana Slate is not a big deal. They see the incoming administration as illegitimate at best, and they will use the fact that many of us were unopposed as grounds to justify their apathy. Now, I strongly disagree with those sentiments, but I do recognize that they are symptoms of a larger issue, an issue where students have lost trust in their student government. Quite simply, they don't see the point in voting in an uncontested election because they don't think doing so will produce representatives that truly represent them. So I want to use this as an opportunity to tell them and anyone else who's wondering, the student union is going to be a different organization going forward. No longer will our role be to simply disseminate information on behalf of other entities. Instead, we will make it a priority to form active coalitions within the student body, to mobilize and engage anyone who is willing to take charge and improve the day-to-day experience of WashU students. Now, naturally, there are some that question our ability to renew activism. They are quick to judge us as mere tools and rubber stamps of the administration. While they are certainly entitled to hold this view, I urge them to consider why the people that run for student union get involved in the first place. Personally, I remember the Club 40 dance during my freshman year where I met Paul Moynister, who was student union president at the time. I went up to Paul and I told him that I wanted to be just like him. I someday wanted to be student union president. I had no idea what student union even was. I didn't even really know what it was like to be a college student. I was just an eager freshman who had been involved in high school, and I wanted to become involved at WashU. Paul gave me great advice. He said, don't map out your future. Follow your passion, and the rest will follow you. I did that. I got involved in Woo TV, the Orientation Executive Board, and the Student Admissions Committee. But I still sensed the calling from student government. So at the end of my freshman year, I ran for Senate. Shortly into my term, as my sophomore year was beginning, the university announced an increase in the residential technology fee to cover the cost of new services. Students were not happy. Over 1,000 joined a Facebook group and signed a petition that decreed the increase to be an unfair imposition on students without proper notification. I got an invite to the Facebook group, but I wasn't sure what to do. I called the newly elected president of Student Union, Neil Patel, at 2 a.m. He was away on a cruise, and I'm sure he didn't want to talk about Student Union at 2 a.m. So he gave me advice. He said, Jeff, you're in charge. While I'm away, don't let anyone screw anything up. I didn't know exactly what Neil wanted me to do. In hindsight, I'm sure he was just telling me something so he can enjoy his vacation and not deal with Student Union. But I did what felt natural. I set up a meeting with the administration to talk about the fee increase. When I went to the meeting, surely enough, they wanted me to communicate the reasons behind the increase to students. They made a compelling case for what the extra money would go towards and why it was necessary. Nevertheless, I told them as a representative of the student body, I cannot sit here and justify this, and I cannot support this because students were not consulted and informed about the plans in a timely manner. After several more meetings and negotiations, I got the administration to delay the increase in the fee for a semester and also work with them to eliminate the fee for the following year. Moments like those are what make my involvement in Student Union monumental. I don't dedicate over 20 hours a week and sometimes skip class and neglect homework just to put a fancy title on my resume. I do it because I sincerely believe that WashU is a great school, and I really do believe that students have the power to make it even better. So yes, for me, this election does represent the realization of a desire I've had since my freshman year. But more importantly, it represents the culmination of 2 years of hard work trying to make WashU a better place for me and my peers. I've worked so hard and I've worked with talented individuals to make the WashU experience better. Things like improving transition services for incoming students, improving technology on campus, and increasing attendance at athletic events have been what I've tried to do. Nevertheless, in spite of these improvements, we have so much more to do. My friends have begun to congratulate me, but they know that I am humbled by the task that lies ahead. Despite an economic environment which will force the administration to make necessary cutbacks and set clear priorities, we as students must make sure that tangible improvements are made to our experience next year. No matter what improvements that myself, Trevor, David, Nate, or Courtney can enact, if we don't make students care enough to get involved, care enough to hold us accountable, or care enough to even vote, then we will have failed in the mission that we were elected to do. So as we all depart for spring break and get much needed rest, I thank you all for your support. I'm honored to be the next student body president, but I don't take the job lightly. I promise to work on behalf of students every day that I am in office. With your help, I know that we can make great things happen. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being engaged, and I look forward to working for you next year. I'll see you around. Have a great spring break.